I guess first off, welcome Shar and Alice. Been a while. You guys have been well?
Yeah, we've been good.
Yeah.
Chilling,
thanks.
enjoying the lockdown.
Oh, you're enjoying the lockdown. It's hard, I think, this time around.
It's a nice thing, right? For once.
What do you reckon, Shar? No?
It's a bit boring.
It's boring.
Because it's just go to work, come home, go to work, come home. So.
But you're both able to keep working? Like there's been no reason for you to not work?
No, still working.
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
I'm going to launch into the questions, and it really, we were going to start off anyway with asking how you guys are coping in isolation, what you've been doing to just get through the time in lockdown. And then I added another question just about, what have you guys learned about yourselves in lockdown? Who wants to kick off?
Alice.
Yes, we asked that. Yep. So what was the question, Orny?
So how have you guys been doing during lockdown? What have you guys been doing to just kill time? And then what have you learned about yourself during isolation?
I think considering like this has never happened before, like it's nice to have a reason to spend and catch up on rest, and quality time with family as well has been good, like because no one's allowed to leave and no one's allowed to go anywhere, so it's given us time to like visit my parents more often and see the brothers, so it's been good to just have that family quality time.
Yeah, nice.
In terms of what have we been doing, just resting, like just chilling. We've just moved into this new place, so trying to enjoy the neighborhood, some peace and quiet, and just going, just doing little things here and there, running, and did a bit of boxing the other day, so trying to pass time with some training and some exercise.
Yep.
And work, I think there's nothing else to do, so picked up more shifts here and there and longer shifts as well, so work has been good to pass the time as well. And what I've learned about myself, just like goals, things that like you have more time to think about your goals and what you want to work towards and what to use your time with, so just been thinking about, next year, this year is pretty much a write-off with rugby, just having some goals to work towards next year, not just rugby but with work and career-wise and even study as well, so just having that time to really think through some things to do in the future.
Well, I was going to ask, just as you were talking about how far are you looking with your goals? Are you setting goals just to get through the next couple of months? But you already said that you're looking at next year. So rugby's a part of that as well for you. So rugby, work, school, all pretty important things. Shar, what about you?
Well, it's basically kind of the same, setting goals and, like she said, this year's been a write-off. You can't do much. Can't do any sports, can't do much. That's a bit weird for me because I can't sit down on my ass most of the time. But
this would be really different for you, wouldn't it? Because and probably for you too, Alice, because your lives up until lockdown, it was just rugby, work, and oftentimes you guys would be turning up to training and you'd be exhausted. So the downtime's been good.
Yeah, the rest has been awesome.
Yep, fantastic.
That's about it though, just the rest. But when after you're rested, you're like, oh, what should we do now?
Rest some more.
But rest some more. Sleep. Eat, sleep. But like Alice said, we've been finding time to do some training together when she's off work, and I'm basically home after work, like after 5. So we've been doing some boxing, just workouts at home.
Yep.
And
nice. All right. Well, I think with aside from the COVID stuff, and you're both well known throughout the team, and you're both in the leadership roles, and you're like figureheads to the players in the seniors team as well as the youth. But often there's not a lot known about you. So can you tell us about, I suppose, yourselves? You've already touched on things like you're going to study, you play rugby, all that sort of stuff. Just anything, any little tidbit that would be that you can share with the team.
Yeah, I'll start off. As everyone knows, my name is Alice. I think I started rugby in 2000 seems like a while ago. 2014 was when I first started playing rugby. A rugby mate of mine, Tupu, brought me down to the field. So I was playing basketball before that, and basketball was just taking up too much of my time, and I was going through VCE at the same time. So Tupu was like, "Oh, come have a jam." It was meant to be touch, so it was touch rugby leading up to rugby. So we're doing a lot of pickup games with touch rugby, and then she said try contact. So came down to one training session, and then started from there. So I think I haven't stopped playing since then. I think I've only taken a year off from. I haven't stopped club rugby, community rugby since then, but state. I think I only missed 2 years or a year. But yeah, it's been ongoing since then, and really enjoyed it. Met a lot of good people that have friends that have become family, and a lot of doors have opened for me for rugby, and a lot of opportunities as well has come my way. So yeah, rugby has been a big part of my life since then, and definitely don't regret it, and have learned. I've learned a lot through it, and I think it's a big part of who I am now. Is from rugby. So I owe a lot to that training session and to the game itself. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think we always, when you look back, you come back to certain moments, don't you, in time, and think, oh, well, how did this happen, and why am I here now? But we will come back to like some of the other stuff that you talked about around, what you've learned, what you've taken away from rugby, and then what some of those lessons are that you could share with the youth girls. Shar, what about yourself? Tell us about you.
Well, yeah, my name's Shar. Well, Charlene, as most of some of the other girls now. So weird hearing my own name, but yeah, I originally came from Wellington. Played rugby since high school. My last 2 years in high school. So Alice, she played basketball and I played hockey. So I kind of got sick of turning up to hockey, and like training was pretty hard, and I got bored because I've been playing it since I was 12. So I thought I'd give rugby a go. So I've been playing since, second to last year out of high school. And it's been ongoing since, and I love the game, love the contact, and it's gotten me to different countries, different places, and I've met a lot of new friends.
Yeah, nice. So we'll come to your international duties, but you touched on hockey, Shar. So we know that you're a dual international. So rugby's not the only thing that you've played and represented Samoa in. Can you tell us a little bit about your time in hockey and what that was like in contrast to rugby?
Well, hockey's totally different. It's more running, and and there's a stick involved and a little hard ball. So put those two together, it's a bit, you either run towards it or run the other direction so you don't get smashed with it.
You had me at running.
Yeah, there's a lot of running. Like you run pretty much everywhere on the field. It's a lot of, you're basically bent over most of the time, whereas rugby, you're kind of up running. There's no stick involved. Rugby, more over ball.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But is it something that you enjoy? Is it something you would go back to?
I definitely enjoy it. I don't know. I'll go back to it, but probably try and play more social.
Yeah.
I don't know about the fitness at this time.
When you first joined us, you were looking for a team, and I think you had some national duties partway through one of the seasons as well. But yeah, and I guess with both of you, you've come up through the community, Shar through New Zealand, and then across to Australia through WD, and then Mamoe, your time with WD. What's actually kept you playing for as long as you have? You've touched on some of the things some of the relationships that you've gained through rugby. What else has kept you playing?
For me, probably my teammate, like all the girls on the team, and they've become family, as I said before. So it's like you want to sit a game out, or you want to sit a month or a year off, and then someone will hit you up, like, oh, are you playing this Saturday, or are you coming down to training? So people like keep you accountable, and you want to come down to the field, not just for the game, but for your friends. You want to be there to support them, have their backs on the field. So I think that's what's kept me going is my teammates, for community. Because they're not just people you see at the game. You see them during the week. You see them Monday to Friday. Not just on the weekend. So they slowly become part of your everyday life. So yeah.
Nice. And Shar?
I second that. It's like, basically like your family. You're training like twice a week, sometimes right through the whole week, depending what teams you're going for and all that stuff. But it's the people that show up, and just the game that you love playing with friends that love the game just as much as you do.
Yeah. And I think particularly with the women's game, it just seems to be growing, and there are more and more females playing. And it's good that, where we have some role models, and you guys, I would say, are role models for a lot of our youth coming through. It's important to share your story. And I think, for anyone who's thinking about playing, whether it's national, community, whatever it is, just want to give it a red hot crack. It's good to see, what you guys have been doing, what it's taken you as well to get to where you got to the highest levels, right? So if you can share with us, just the path that took you from playing community level to playing at both state and then national level. Was that always on the cards for you guys? Was it something you were always striving towards?
Well, for me, I didn't even. Alice, do you want to go first?
No, you go.
Okay. Well, for me, I didn't even know much about rugby. I didn't know there was I didn't even know a thing of any other country. Like, I knew there was a Black Ferns team, and that's all I knew when I played rugby. I didn't know there was Samoa. I didn't know there was Australia or anything. I thought I'd just give it a crack. I didn't know where it could take me to until I made a Wellington team, and I got hit up by some of the old players that played for the Manusina team, who were a lot older than me, so I was pretty much still the youngest. And just I didn't know where it was going to take me, so I just kept playing, and those girls brought me along too. They hit me up and said, "Oh, do I want to come down and trial for the Manusina?"
What year was this?
2004, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a while back. 2004. Some of the girls in club rugby, we played in different teams, but every time we played, they just hit me up and asked me if I wanted to come and give it a go, and I was like, "Oh, there's a Samoan women's team." Yeah, it was a surprise to me because I never thought about that. I was like, living in New Zealand, I'm like, Kiwi this, Kiwi that. There's Black Ferns team, there's Black Sticks team for hockey. I didn't think of any other country to be in the competition. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And so that's where it all started from. And it was just onwards and upwards from there.
And how long did you play for the Manusina? Did you have 1-2 seasons? How many seasons did you play?
I played in 2 Rugby World Cups.
Oh, wow, nice.
One was in 2006. It was my first time. It was in Canada, Edmonton. And the second was in 2014 in Paris, in France. But before then, I've done a few test matches before then as well. But I can't remember the top of my head.
No worries. And were you a forward or a back in that series, in both series?
Well, first series, both forwards.
Yep.
So the first series I played Lucy. And the second I played front row. So yeah. Well, I trialed the
promoted to the front row.
Promoted indeed.
Well, I did go trial, when they hit me up about coming to trial for Manusina the first time.
Yep.
I was going as a front row because someone said I could. At the time I was playing a bit of both.
Yeah.
But they said, go trial out for a hooker. then when we got a new coach, the other girls said, no, she'll be good at 7. So I was like, but yeah, so one series I played at 6, 7 or 8. Well, anyway, in the loose here, and then the second one I just played, hooker.
And Alice, what about yourself? What was the path that you took to play? And I've heard your story. You've shared it with us before, but just if you wouldn't mind sharing it again, your path to state and then on to national duties.
So started playing in 2014. The same year I got picked up for sevens, to play sevens for Melbourne Rebels. That was my first and last sevens comp.
You don't like sevens?
I have sevens.
It's not for everyone. So that's the lesson I learned that year.
The running.
So because there was no 15s at the time. I was looking for, when I first got picked up, I thought it was for 15s because I had been playing 15s, and I rocked up to training and there was like 10 of us. And I was, where's the team? And it's like, oh, this is sevens. And I was like,
set up.
What sevens? What sevens? And then they told me, and I was like, they told me, and I was like, oh, that sounds easy. Yeah, it's easy. 7 minutes, 7 players. First training session, I was like, wow, like never, who forgot to tell me this part, like, so I did sevens that year for state, and it was just, I think for me, it was just a taste of what rugby can do for me, and the opportunities and doors that can open up for me if I really made a choice to pursue rugby. So that year was a great year. I kept with my community rugby. That's where my friends and that's where my heart was for rugby. So 2014, 15, and then slowly 15s for state. I'm not sure only what year that started. I think 2015.
I think are you talking Rebels or for, because
Rebels, yeah.
Rebels,
oh no, yeah. Victoria.
Oh, Victoria. I think they were off, like, for as long as I've played, there's always been a state team. So maybe they just baluffled you and said there is no 15, so you played sevens.
But yeah, so
you just got set up.
You just got set up.
Exactly. So that was a heck of a setup.
Because you were a back too, weren't you? So you started as a back.
I started. My first position was 13.
Yeah.
13, and then I moved into 12. Moved to 10.
Made yourself on the way to.
Yeah, so I made myself all the way to 10.
You didn't play 9? Did you just skip 9 and go straight
skip
into
9?
Skip 9, yeah, totally skipped 9. So I went into state. I forgot what year it was. It might have been 2016, where state started for the Rebels. And they gave me the number 10 jersey for my first debut for state, and that was a big mistake. I think I debated with the coach for a whole 2 months. I argued and debated and argued and debated. There was one time I forgot my jersey at home on purpose for training, and then they gave me another jersey. So
yeah, they have 24 in a kit, that, don't you?
Yeah, I didn't know they had spare kit.
Yeah.
So number 10 was, I think, state just.
What was it? What was it that you didn't want to play 10? Because that's a pretty pivotal role, 10.
Yeah, which was the main reason why I didn't want to play it. It was just I watched games, like Super Rugby games, and just position, like, their responsibility. I wanted to just go on the field and just play the game, and not have to worry, not have to worry about directing players or all the responsibility that a 10 had. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to get on the field, play the game, get off, which was my mindset at the time. But the coaches, they're so supportive. We don't give you a number 10 jersey for no reason. So when they gave me the jersey, they gave me the coaching, the training, the support, and I had some good teammates at the time as well that backed me up. So it helped me on the field. And I think I swapped the 10 in jersey during the whole competition with another player. So I would do 10, then go to 12, then do 10, then go back to 12. So I wasn't 10 the whole time, which is good. I think I ended up on the wing at one point. But yeah, so ever since then I played state, and then 2017 was a big year for me. The same year, I think my dad was diagnosed with cancer. So the whole reason for rugby for me that year changed. And I think it was probably like the best rugby I played was in that same year. And I got Wallaroos picked me up that same year, and then I debuted in 2018, which was huge as well for me and my team, and my community team and my family as well. And yeah, brought everything that I learned from that camp back to my state team, back to my community team. So but yeah, I've still been playing ever since then, so it's been good.
Yep. And I'll come back to your journey, like the actual games, the first games, because it'd be good to get what was going through your head for both of you when you got the call up to play, but then when you were actually playing and it was the second of your first ever international game. Like, what was that like for you? Was it exciting? Were you scared? What were the emotions that you guys were feeling at the time? Sorry.
Shar, do you take this one?
Okay. For me, when I first got that call, I was excited and happy.
Yep.
I was excited and happy, but yeah, putting on the jersey for the first time, I was pretty nervous, but very proud.
Yep.
Yeah.
And first time, like first second on the pitch, and you're on an international stage. Like, I can't imagine what that's like when the whistle blows. You're on, whether you start the game or come off the bench. What's that feeling like?
I don't know. I was like probably every time my goal was when the first whistle or my first touch of the pitch jumping on, I was like, I've got to make a first hit, and then I'll like shake everything off and just play like I'm playing normally.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what about you, Alice? What were the overwhelming feelings that you were feeling?
I think when I first got the email, I was in shock. I couldn't believe it.
How you really feel?
Shock, happy,
yeah,
or just shock like,
what kind of shock?
Yeah, I was shocked. Like, I didn't want to go. To be honest, like I didn't want to go.
See,
I didn't want to go to camp. So I was like, what? What do you mean, me? Like, I didn't have that much confidence in how I played. And I wasn't expecting it at all. So when I got the email, I had to, I called up my parents. My dad was the first one I called, and I just said to him, like, I'm not good enough, just all these, I'm not, I'm not the player that they think I am. I'm not a serious player. I probably wouldn't be able to wear that jersey and play the game the way they want me to. And because he was my reason at that time for rugby, and so he put a lot of faith in me and put a lot of courage in me that I needed at that time. So it was like just changed my whole mindset and my maturity about it. Yeah. So going away to camp, I just had to soak everything up, take the opportunity, because you're not just playing a game for people that have chosen you for this jersey. You're playing a game for a country potentially. So you just had to change your maturity about the whole game at that point. And it wasn't just you're not just playing backyard anymore. You're representing your country. You're representing that shield. So walking onto that field, I think it was just I felt like I had to. I owe it. I owe it to the game to play the best that I could, and I owed it to to Australia at that point, because they've given me the game. I played rugby here for the first time, so I picked up the ball here, so I had to give it the best that I could and play with my heart out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, so if it weren't for you, Shar, Mumsina, and for you, Alice, the Wallaroos, would you have thought about playing possibly for another country, whether it's Samoa or for you, Shar, New Zealand? Was that ever something that you guys aspired to? Or were you happy playing and just playing, you know, with your mates and whatever happens, happens?
I think for me, you know, I'm happy that I played for Australia. You know, I wouldn't change it because, you know, even though I'm Samoan, you know, my ethnicity is Samoan and, you know, my nationality is, you know, New Zealand. I grew up in New Zealand, so, you know, having two countries that are a big part of me. When it comes to rugby, I think, you know, playing for Australia was the right country that I played for because, you know, I never grew to love the game until I came here. And I never found out about the game when I got here. So all the people that have helped me become a good player are from here. So they're part of, you know, Australia. They're here. They're the ones supporting me here. So when I go play rugby, I want to play for this country because this is the country that has helped me get on that field. So
no, it's a beautiful thing. What about you, Shar? Are you happy that you adorned the royal blue for the Manu Sina?
Yeah,
wouldn't change it, or yeah?
No, I wouldn't change it. Really happy and stoked. Just, you know, represent my family and like, you know, my mum and dad who were born in Samoa. So that's a big thing, wearing the royal blue. But there's also, you know, it's hard for others out there that have been trying to play for the team. But of course, it's just all down to the resources and stuff that, you know, it's hard for others to come across and play.
Yeah. So with the, and we're going to stick with your the elite pathway for a bit. So in terms of training and, you know, the dedication in terms of time and all the rest of it, you tell us what it actually looked like. What were you, in terms of the schedule for training? How much time did that take? How did you cope juggling work, school, if you were at school, and then, you know, commitment to club rugby as well as national duties and state? That's a lot, you know, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like your whole life. You don't
when you
really
put it like
do
that, so, yeah, it sounds like a lot. Yeah.
But what did you do?
Yeah.
How did you cope with it, and how did you keep yourself, you know, just mentally, emotionally, just in check?
For me, I think there was one point in time where we had just finished state training, the state comp. We had to do satellite trainings for Wallaroos. So there's about a few of us here in Melbourne that had to train. So Queensland, New South Wales. For us here, it was like we had a set program. So it was a combination of training, weights, gym, and then on-field training as well. And then on top of that, you had to do your own training, maintain your program. For training for us, for state, was weights. Saturday was weights in the morning. Then we had field in the afternoon. So it was like an hour or 2 hours between. And then we went straight onto field. During the week, we had weights in the gym once a week or twice a week. Shar, I think.
Yeah, it was once a week.
And then we had field. Yeah, and then we had field twice.
Yeah.
So it was like 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Just dedicated to training for state.
And then your satellite training for nationals too?
Yeah, so satellite training for nationals
was that running the same time as
it was about
state?
A few months before.
Sorry.
It overlapped at a certain time, but instead of doing the program for state, we had to do the Wallaroos program. So if we go to the weights training, we had to do our own program.
Yep.
And then for field training, the state field training kind of complemented our training that we were doing with the satellite. But that was before a few weeks before we had camp, when we went away for training camp. Yep. So training camp was 2 weeks. And that was similar. So you had weights training, and then you had field or backs and forwards. So there wasn't so much as fitness or conditioning at camp.
Yep.
You were meant to be already prepared. So the satellite was preparing you for the fitness and the conditioning. So then when it gets to camp, they don't have to spend that time on conditioning and fitness. You should be already conditioned and your fitness level should be already good. So all they had to concentrate on was, forwards, backs, and your strength and your recovery at the same time. So, and then came game day.
Nice. And so same experience for you, Shar, juggling work and trainings?
Pretty much. It was like training. Yeah. Well, when I moved over here, it was pretty much 4 times a week training, Monday to Thursday. I think Friday was probably our only rest day. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Friday,
Sunday.
Yeah, then back on and Sunday.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, for me, it was a bit of a struggle with working and traveling for training.
Yeah.
It was the time I finished and what I do for work was pretty physical. So by the time I got to training, it was hard to try and re-energize from like the hour or so driving stuck in traffic to get to training.
Yeah, wow.
And then like training will go on for like an hour and a half. Sometimes it'll probably drag on for a little bit longer.
Yep.
And then there was the drive back home, and back then
it was an hour.
Yeah,
it was like an hour to training and then an hour home after.
Wow, and you want the time you're training to actually be good quality for that amount of travel, don't you? So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so it was difficult.
Yeah, but so what did you guys do to just make sure that you were okay, mentally, emotionally, all that sort of stuff, so that you weren't boiling over, and then it wasn't starting because sometimes things can become quite overwhelming. Does resentment creep in, or you think, no, I've got a goal, I know why I'm here, and that's what I'm working towards?
Yeah, some days were a lot harder than others. Dragging your feet to training, your coaches and the team can see you dragging your feet. So when you get down training, you're not running to training, you're walking, and everyone's already strapped on, ready to go. So definitely hard on some days, but I think the thing that kept us going was, the same struggles we had. 20 other girls were having the same struggles. So, you weren't the only one that was, that was struggling to sleep and struggling to make it to work. So everyone was going through the same thing. So the thing, I think, communicating and talking to each other about it, just encouraging each other. I mean, you can have a little vent here and there, like I didn't have enough sleep, or, that's, we're all human, so it's hard. But I think the girls are good, just talk about it and then get over it. You still have to, you're there for a reason. You got to train. If you got to train, you got to train. So you got games coming up. You just got to put in the high yards and then enjoy the drive home and rest up and then come back and do it again.
Yeah. And it's also thinking back, isn't it, that around, once you're there, you've done it. It's that satisfaction that you've done it. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, and it was hard, but you've actually gotten through it. And sometimes it's as simple as telling yourself just one foot in front of the other. That's all you got to do to just keep going forward. But it's good that you've got that, you had a support network that you could have a talk to, and the shared experience of your other players. You're absolutely right. Even when you're playing and you're tired and you think, oh Jesus, I'm tired, but you look around and everyone's tired. If everyone's doing their job, everyone's tired.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but, in saying that, and to kind of make light of the whole thing, for some of the players, whether they're in our youth team or in our seniors, what kind of things would you say to encourage them? Because it sounds like a lot, but I think when you're in it, it's just the norm. So what kind of words would you say? What would your advice be? What would you say to encourage them?
I think for me it was finding wavelengths as for me, I had to pick a few players on my team that I can be accountable to and hold accountable. So not everyone on the team may be on the same journey as you. So there will be a few on there, just have a chat and meet your team and players that you can talk to and communicate openly and honestly about things that you're struggling with training, or whether you're struggling with injury. Just having one or two people that you can be open about and talk to. it's good for you. It's good for your mental health as well, because they can check up on you when you're feeling down, or check up on you when you don't make it to training. So that's good to have someone that's there, that's going through it with you, rather than, you know, when you go home, your mom and dad won't always understand what you're talking about, or your siblings or your friends from outside of rugby, they won't always get it. So I think having someone on that team or wherever you are, just, you know, knows that what you're going through, and they're going through the same thing as well.
Yeah. And Shar, what about yourself? How did you deal with, like, when you were struggling, and what got you through?
Yeah, it's just like Alice say, you have that support team, like, you know, players like for state, it was players from our club team. We kind of had like we had a little group chat stuff, so we'd kind of hold each other accountable of who was coming to training, how's everyone feeling. So that was probably what got myself through, and maybe some of the others as well.
Now, you had, Shar, just, you know, while we're talking to you, you had duties. So you were captain or co-captain.
Yeah, co-captain.
Yeah. And so, you know, like Alice was saying, playing at number 10 is responsibility. Are you there?
Sorry, what was that?
No, I was just saying, so, you know, Alice was talking about the responsibility that comes at playing with number 10.
I think it's frozen on me.
Oh.
Oh, we can still hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear?
I can hear you.
Ollie.
I think Alice is on mute.
Yeah, she's on mute again.
Oh no!
There you are.
No, we can see.
It's not working.
No, we can see
working.
you.
We can hear you. Oh, what a fail!
Can you see me now?
I can see you. Alice is just disappeared.
Alice, your picture's gone.
So this is back to when we were trying to get it working. There you are.
There you are. Okay.
You're on mute. Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. All right, so I was just asking Shar around her role as the co-captain for Super W, and just like how Alice was talking about number 10 being quite a big role. Unofficially, you know, 10s, they would be your captain if you didn't have one, I think, anyway. But how did you cope with that? Because you had to that comes with extra responsibilities as well, Shar.
Yeah, it was, I don't know how to say it. It was a huge responsibility, because you, like I was saying before, how I was finding it difficult and really tired from work. I couldn't show that to the team.
Yep.
Because, you know, and being in that role, I had to lead from the front, and still, what do you call it? I can't find the word. Still support the team in any way, and just make sure that I don't look tired or I don't want to be there. I had to make sure that I was on the same page, and that I was there to support the girls if they needed it. And we were like another path to go through if they couldn't speak to the coaches, or just couldn't find anyone else to speak to. I had to make sure that I was there, and that I was there to help in any way I could possibly can. Yeah.
And so would you guys go back again? The plans to go back to play rep?
Yes, I will.
Yep. Yeah, I'll definitely give it another crack, but I think I would just prepare differently this time before I go. Just prepare longer.
You've got all of 2020 to prepare.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have any excuses when I go back. It's like, what were you doing for the whole year? I don't know. So, you know,
yeah, probably
definitely
better prep before trying to go back again.
Yeah, for sure.
Like maybe a whole year.
Another whole year.
Another whole year to prep. Oh, Uni, can you hear us still? Oh, you got mute, I think.
I think you muted yourself. Yeah, can you hear us?
No,
No,
we can't.
I still can't
We still
hear
can't hear you. No.
Can you hear us?
Oh,
Oni? No, you're muted.
You're, yeah.
No, she's in.
No, we can't hear you, Uni.
She's looking for something. She's going, wait.
Is she going upstairs? No, she's going to the kitchen.
Make something to eat.
Oh, we still can't hear you. You can hear us though, eh?
Oh, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Was your headphone?
No.
Was it plugged in?
No. Yeah, that sounds like
it wasn't plugged in.
Because I saw this little reader.
I was like, oh, that's come out. But this is not going in the video, all right? So. Yeah, you laugh.
Oh man.
All right. Sorry, guys. Now we're back on track.
That's all good.
All right. Where did we get up to? Oh, okay. So
if we'd go back again.
Going back to Super W. That's right. So for girls who are thinking about it, you know, same thing. What's the advice that you would give them? Because, you know, we've got a lot of talent. I believe we've got one of the most talented teams in the league. But sometimes, you know, we're a little bit lacking in terms of having good habits, all that sort of stuff. So what advice would you give to the girls who might be thinking about it?
Oh, you go.
You go.
Go, you on.
Oh, you go.
I think I think it's just basics, you know, enjoy the game, have fun and have fun and enjoy the game when you're playing. And like you mentioned before, having good habits, you know, you're not always gonna be motivated to train and you're not always gonna be motivated to get on the field and play. But I think if you create habits for yourself, create a routine, then even though if you're not feeling up to it, you still know that your routine, you still have to get up in the morning, you know, do your training. So putting those small things in place, putting little habits and routines in place so that you still, you know, you're still getting up and you're still doing those little things. And I think look after your body as well, you know, look after your injuries. I think a lot of Islanders, you know, we don't look after injuries, you know, we roll an ankle or we pull a muscle.
With our own doctors, eh?
Yeah, we pull a muscle and we're like, we'll just ice it. It's all good, you know, just wrap some tape around it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. You sound like you're talking from experience, you two.
Exactly. I am. I've pulled a few muscles and, you know, I've just ran it off or just, you know, keep moving it around. You'll be all good, keep running. But then, you know, you're out for 2 weeks, you know, so look after your injuries, you know, just don't be like, oh, you know, don't be ignoring it, you know, see the right people about it, see your physio and keep on top of it. And yeah.
What about you, Black Knight? You know, just to tell you the story, my husband called me Black Knight. No, and it's funny because it's a show.
Called you?
He calls me Black Knight, and I don't know if you know the story of Black Knight, but and I'm saying this to you, Shar, because it's the story of this knight where he gets injured and everything gets cut off, but he keeps going. And then, so it gets to the point where his leg gets cut off and he still wants to fight. His arm gets cut off. He still want to go out and fight. And eventually he's just a trunk. And so my husband says, that's you. You're the Black Knight. So you know, you and you've got injuries. Like you both carry injuries. So tell the girls what they need to do to overcome the reasons they don't go and get it looked at.
No, definitely second what Alice is saying. Definitely look after your body because, you know, when you get older, it's not good for you. But you know, the resources are there. That's why you play in that team. They have physios. They have people they know that you can get referred to and stuff. So use them. That's what they're there for, and it's good for you. You need to look after yourself. I mean, if you want to like keep on playing to, I don't know, God, as long as you want, you can look after yourself.
Age.
Yeah, man. If you want to keep going like
the Masters
and
Cup. Join the Black Knights.
We'll call ourselves the Black Knights. That's too funny.
Definitely look after yourself. And if you really want to go for the team, don't go on what other people are saying or what's happening in the background. Just do it for yourself. You never know till you try. So give it all you want. You know, there's opportunities out there. Like Oni said, there's heaps of talent, a lot of talent that probably don't get looked at, but they're there. So don't stop trying. Keep going.
Nice. Good work. All right. So just a few more questions, and then I'll let you guys go back to the rest of your day. So I want to stay on the whole thing about trialing, because I think it's one thing to trial and then be named in the squad. I think it's a different thing to trial and then also, you know, you put your heart, your soul, you go to all the trials, you train, and then not get named. And sometimes you don't even get selected for like, you just don't get selected beyond maybe the first or second couple of trainings. So for those girls, we see it. We have girls who come through our team, they don't get picked, and it knocks them out, you know, knocks the wind out of their sails. So what would you say to the girls who aren't as fortunate, to just encourage them to keep trying and to keep, you know, putting themselves out there?
Yeah, I think I've made the bench a few times on teams, so you know I know how that feels like, not to be, you know, named in your starting lineup. But I think for me personally, I had to think about the player that I wanted to be and not the player that I was at the time. So for what that looks like for me was, what kind of player would you want to look up to, and then you got to be that. You know, if you're gonna take, you know, not being named on the field and let it set you back, it's just creating more time between you and what you want. Yeah. So I think remembering, you know, if you get knocked out, okay, what do you want to look like to other players? Like, what kind of player do you want to look like to the younger generation? Do you want to look like a player that just keeps fighting and get through it? Yep. And have that story to tell at the end, or are you just going to keep creating more and more steps for you to get through? So yeah, I think you just have to change your mindset, you know, like don't think like what people expect you to think, you know, oh, she's probably going to give up, or probably try another sport. But you just got to change your mindset and think about what you want. And if you want that jersey in the end, then you go for it. You know, if everyone else is going out, or, you know, partying, or, you know, just staying at home sleeping, you got to be out there putting in the hard yards, you know, get on that field, put in the extra minutes or the extra hours and train and just work your butt off for that jersey, because it's worth it. You know, that story that you're going to tell at the end, you know, it's going to be worth it to other people, inspire them. So yeah, that was for me, that was my mindset when I didn't make the call up.
Nice. What about you, Shar? What would you tell people?
Continue to encourage them, you know, don't give up. You can get knocked down once, twice, but there's always those little things you can just fix, easy fixes. Like Alice was saying, it's a mental thing where you think what you need to do better, and just keep going. Don't give up. You're talented to make the trial, so don't second guess yourself, and just keep going. You know, you have teammates there to support you, to talk to you through it, or if you need help. But yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, the other thing is, like, when you don't make it, you're not the only one that didn't make it. You know, there's probably other players there that are just as down about it as you are. So, you know, like, surround yourself with those people and then talk about things that you need to do better. You know, go to your coach and get feedback. You know, don't just walk away and be like, oh, I didn't make the team. Like, go find out why. You know, go to the coach, ask questions like, what do I need to work on? Because it shows initiative, and it shows that you want it. So go to your coaches, go to your trainers, your whoever you need to talk to, and find out what you need to, and then you just got to keep growing, you know, never stop yourself and don't limit yourself.
Just don't be too serious. You know, you can also have a bit of fun, but at the same time work hard.
Yep. Nice, ladies. I think that's and that's from experience. So, you know, I think that goes a long way for a lot of people. And we've got a youth program at WD, so it's important for them to know that, you know, you're going to have a few setbacks. You'll probably get knocked back a couple of times. Not everyone's going to get through, but it's how you bounce back from it. And, you know, and it's okay to take time to, like you said, the only way you can get better is to ask the questions. Well, why didn't it work this time? How do I actually make it work for me the next time? But you talk about that being a sign of initiative. And for me, I think rugby imparts a lot of life lessons. And so there are a lot of things that you pick up through training and then working in a team environment that you can use across any sort of, I suppose, life in general, relationships, all that sort of stuff. What do you think are some of the key values or lessons that you guys have picked up along the way? And how have you been able to, you know, transfer those skills to work, life, friendships, all that sort of stuff?
So I think the top one for me has been discipline. You learned that from your first few days of training, you know, on the rugby field, in the change rooms, you know, discipline's a big part of it. You know, got to have your gears. Make sure you got your uniform, you know, your shorts, your socks. Make sure you rock up to training on time. Sometimes 10 minutes before, you know, you're on the field, you should be there, you know, boots on, ready to go. Cleaning up your change rooms after training, you know, make sure all the rubbish is in the rubbish bin, you know, like little things like that you take to your everyday life, you know, at home, at work as well. The other thing for me has been just perseverance as well, has been a big one for me. You know, on the field when you're dying, there's just no air to breathe in anymore. So, and you got to keep going. You know, you got to keep going. You know, you don't know where the ground is. You know, but just look around and your mates are there. You know, you put in the hard yards for them. So, you take that every day as well. So, you know, you do things for your family, you do things for your staff, your workmates. I mean, rugby teaches you a lot of lessons that you can use everywhere.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Shar? What lessons has rugby taught you that you apply every day?
That's pretty much what Alice has all covered, really. It's taught me to, you know, if you get knocked down, that's not all about rugby. You know, there's better things out there in life. No, it was keeping me honest.
Yep.
It was just keeping me honest with everything that I do through life. So, yeah.
Nice. All right. So, and role models, like, have you guys, when you played, was there someone that you were imagining yourself against, or who inspired you to play when you were playing, coming up through rugby?
Oh man.
International, national, local, your parents, brothers?
I think for me on the field was probably Richie McCaw when I was watching rugby. Just his work rate, you know, just always getting up off the field, always, you know, you never see him standing there. He's always looking for something to do, you know. And I think my dad told me, my dad was always teaching me to watch Richie McCaw and watch Ali Savea, you know, like, you know, they're not always standing there. They're always looking for something to do. So I think he helped me coach towards the whole 7, 6, 8 role. So I think for me it was them too, you know, just watching what they do, how they follow the ball, what they were doing around ruck, or even in play, you know, as the game was running. So I think for me those two.
Nice. And what about you, Shar? Who inspired you?
Well, a few players, but this is going way back. If you guys remember Sean Fitzpatrick?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he was good. He was an awesome hooker. I loved the way he played. how he ran. But also Iceman, Michael Jones. I loved watching him, making his breaks. If you watch the old clips of the All Blacks and the Test matches and stuff, he ran some awesome lines. So I wanted to be fast like that too and break the line.
But isn't that it, isn't it? You kind of think, oh, I love that player. I'd love to do that like that player. And in your head,
it's
like this. And then in reality, it's like, oh, almost there.
So no, I want to step like that. And then I was like, you do it, you're like, oh.
No.
I want to be fast. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, that actually, that was pretty much the last of the formal questions. And I'll go through a quick 5 with you both. Just to round off the rest of the interview. So, favourite and worst drill?
Favorite would be anything to do with attack and defense. So no 2v1 or your 2v3.
Same here.
The worst was anything that involved burpees. Hurdles and like Broncos are way up there.
Yeah.
Anything that has running, like
the whole game.
I was like, you do that. What are you doing?
The hill sprints. I remember one time for sevens we had to do hill sprints and bear crawl down the hill.
Yep.
And you had to do it like in a lap on a hill.
Yep.
That was. I think I nearly cried that day. So that was definitely up there. So yeah.
What about you, Shar? Favorite worst? Oh, sorry. Go. Finish off.
No. That was it.
No.
I don't know what my worst or least favorite would be. I kind of like anything to do with contact. So running, I didn't mind so much. Like I'll moan about it, but I didn't mind it. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe the continuous like down up hitting the bag.
You like or dislike?
Dislike the down up because hit the ground. You're like, yeah.
Saturday mornings, how do you prep for a game?
I pray. That's a big one for me. Wake up, start off with a prayer, some music, and then just stretching and rolling is in the morning before I leave the house, and strapping.
Shar?
For me is pretty much get up, chill to some music, strapping, get myself sorted, making sure my bag's packed and stuff, and then I just say a little prayer to myself. I keep that to myself.
That's interesting that you say that. So next question is, do you think that faith has a place in sport? Just thought I'd be controversial.
For sure. For me, faith is a big part of not just sport, but my life as well. So it helps for me. It helps me become a better player on and off the field, and I think because it's something that you can share with people and not impose. I think when people impose it on other people, it's that's not its purpose. I think it's there for you to share with people, encourage people. But yeah, I think it has a place in sport. But it shouldn't be something that takes away the whole purpose of the sport, or the game. So
nice. What about you, Shar? Do you think religion has a place in sport?
It might not be for everybody, but it is for the ones that it's something that means to them. But yeah, it does.
Yes, nice. Favorite rugby team?
Hurricanes.
Favorite Super Rugby team?
Yeah.
Or just rugby team in general?
Anything. Super Rugby?
Favorite rugby team is my team, Western District.
Okay, we're going like that. All right.
That's my favorite.
One of your hair facts.
Favorite Super Rugby, Auckland Blues.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys are doing well. You can have that one. You guys are doing well.
I think we're done for the year now. I think that's it for us for the year.
Yeah, Corona took you guys out. That's what's happened. Look, ladies, thank you so much for your time. I think that's everything. And I know you guys socially, but I don't know you socially, if that makes any sense. And I think that today's conversation has been so insightful, just to learn a little bit more. I've heard bits of your story, but I think to learn what you guys have gone through, what your thought processes were through training. It's actually and you kind of think back, and for me, because I'm an older player, I'm going to live vicariously through you guys, the ones who are going through the system now. And I think it's a beautiful thing that we have players like yourselves that we can hold up as role models, and not just for our youth. I think we've also got players who are just coming into the game at seniors, and we can say, well, we've got role models. And maybe you don't want to be a national player, but in terms of the types of people, Shar and Alice there's a lot to learn, and that they can impart. So thank you, and thank you for spending your.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So just last thing, you consent to me putting this on the page to ask you first.
Well, imagine after all that and we don't consent.
I know.
And I'll be like,
but yeah, no.
Just make sure you put your, the part where you forgot your headphones.
I should have taken.
We're like, we can't hear you. And then I see the same go.
Just any fresh phrases, just mute it out,
I'll just freeze you both for the whole conversation and just and just put your voice over everything. But thank you again for your time. Love you guys. I'm grateful that I can call you my friends and my sisters. And then back for 2021. I think that's on the cards for everyone.
Yeah, start training now.
Thank you. Have a blessed weekend, guys.
We love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.